I think Crush was in Prost though at one point. Scubixi was in Kick back in like 2018. So it's nice to see old faces coming around and actually being put into another team again.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like the overall, I guess you could say the overall team. I believe they started playing with this current lineup at the end of March or something like that, wasn't it? Just after
yeah,
New
it was
Year,
like
basically.
I think first of April they signed Seized, I think.
Ah, okay, fair enough. So yeah, basically, as you said, there's still, you know, even with the experience they might have, even with look, Seized is here. By the looks of it.
Okay. Fair enough.
I guess no need for a replacement. Our fears are undone, and that's a lot better to just, you know, to see the full squad of Vega perform and, you know, have a chance to play. And as I was saying, as you said, basically them being a relatively fresh team of the I guess you could say, of the build-up, this could still be a bit of a shaky overall game for them. If we look at the past results, it hadn't really been the best ever since they, you know, ever since they lost the original squad, and it's been a rough time for Vega as a whole. This whole year, or more so the last half of 2018 and the first half of 2019 has been very shaky. So we're about to find out, though, how well they can deal with Nemiga and how well they can keep themselves composed for this league, as this is the Swiss round 1. Basically, this is the opening match for both of these two teams, and right now, well, Box is already going to take a bit of a hit down to 14. This is the pistol round on towards 8, but Box is ready, and he gets himself 1.
Nice kill to begin with. Bomb is down, like you say, though, and very, very standard A-site take. Nemiga playing or relying more on the retake. JO will get himself inside of the smoke. That could be a little dangerous, especially if JO does not predict this, but will be able to at least fire down to it first. Ooh, a potential for the second, but not going to happen. Box is still fighting, despite being on 3 points of health, and does have MDS to assist him in the process as well. Spamming away and Seized. Assisted by Scubixi, that should be the round, and there it is. Vega bag themselves a first. A nice little retake attempt by the CT side, but not going to come to fruition this time. And the T's will get a first round, meaning they will purchase into this one. Nice to see a more of a coordinated A-site take. Pretty common on Mirage, but is very effective with the couple of smokes you throw down. Essentially, isolate the bomb site. It's a nice little simple round, and I'm kind of glad to see they're bringing strategies through already.
Absolutely. I mean, it's always a good sign that they have more than, well, then there's more than it meets the eye, I guess you could say. In any case, with Seized back in the driving seat almost, we could easily argue that even though Vega might be a fresh squad off the block, they still, you know, they still have the experience, they still have the players, and overall, it shouldn't be too much of a whitewash coming out from Nemiga. I mean, initially, as soon as I read, Seized is not playing, the coach is playing instead of him. Okay, yeah, that's, you know, that should be a relatively easier game for Nemiga. But with obviously all 5 members, we'll see how it develops. Although we have to give respect to Nemiga as well. They've done a splendid job within the past few weeks, months, and, you know, ever since season 1 basically of the Loot Bet tournament, they've been performing as best as they can. I think the biggest surprise came in through season 2, and, well, now going into the Summer Smash, we'll see how far they can come here and if they can reach the playoffs, which shouldn't be disregarded that fast. But anyway, Scoopy and Crush find 2 kills. There was an entry already in pit beforehand, and this is going to be a pretty clean round. Although 3 players are pretty low, Robo gets himself 1. He's not going to stand longer than that. So an easy round again for Vega, 2-0, and the force from Nemiga will force them, or more so will pull them into a Nico run once more. So Vega, this is a quality beginning for them.
Yeah, definitely, and a chance to at least gain some more T-side rounds moving forward into this early sort of phase of play. And the fact that Vega is starting on that T-side, we've got to give it to them with their map pick, that they should be coming into this with high hopes of taking the victory in the first half. I think with the way that Nemiga play Mirage, whilst we've seen them have pretty splendid games on it, with the fact that they beat teams like No Chance on this map, and No Chance, whilst they don't particularly practice Mirage, you'd think with the team that they have and the lineup itself, you'd be able to sort of maybe draw a closer game than what we saw, but they've had some pretty astounding results, a 16-6, a 16-3, and a 16-2, all in the space of like a month or so. So these guys are definitely looking to hit home on Mirage. But again, Vega's one of those unknown entities that we're seeing coming into this event, and I'm pretty sure that a couple of teams maybe backed out of this event, hence why we brought in some different lineups like Vega. And I think we also have a Polish
Scooby
mix
disconnected.
coming into... Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, my bad. I interrupted you.
It's okay. But yeah, obviously we see... I think in tomorrow's game, we see a side called Youngsters, which is pretty ironic considering there's both Pasha and Neo in the lineup, but I think that's going to be really interesting as well to see him actually back on the server, albeit for maybe more of a joke event in the eyes of those two like sort of legend status players.
Yeah, I think they're more like okay, we can play, we can have some fun, you know, we can still play. We don't need to completely disregard the professional aspect of the game, but you know, this is we shouldn't take that squad in a serious manner. Or at least in a manner that, you know, oh, they're in here to win it all, you know, they're in here to take it all. Especially going up against Epsilon, which is a beast in its own right. You know, the names in Epsilon themselves resonate so much more right now than anybody else in Youngsters. Sure, Pasha and Neo are the gods of old, but they are the gods of old for a reason. And Pasha, well, effectively retired, not just, well, simply a month and a half ago or something like that, wasn't it? In any case, this is going to be an eco round. Scooby's back, and, well, Scooby-Dooby-Doo, he gets himself a few on the loo. That's going to be a pretty easy round overall again. Vega, shouldn't be a problem for them to clean it up without further losses, especially with Lollipop now getting the hell out of there. Yeah, this is pretty good. As you said, though, this tournament is bringing in new teams, new players, and overall a bit of an exciting lineup of teams as a whole, right? I mean, Ancient, for example, for me personally, is one of the teams that I'm looking forward to see play. I definitely want to see what they can present to us and what they can give to us. I've missed the I guess you could say the Swedish lines with Disco Doppler and Freddie B. You know, in Plopsky's in there as well. I'm not sure who's their IGL and who's the, like, was it either...
I assume Freddie B, considering I think he did it in Red Reserve.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, probably, yeah. But in any case, well, let's focus on the present more so, shall we? Nemiga, they do have an AWP and AUG on MDS. He gets himself the entry. Dima, a bit aggressive in B house, going to be caught open, and okay, second on Crush. This is looking very good for Nemiga so far as Robo. Lightning Fast Reflex, that's back to 5-on-2.
Not particularly working out too well for Vega in their first opposition of the gun rounds. It's going to leave them in a very disadvantaged position. Both JR and Seized, whilst they have a little bit of control across the map, able to make their way through Connector. Robo is, of course, going to be prepared for this. He does even have backup on Lollipop as well, so even if he does at least fall, there is the backup to make that kill possible as well. And even with the sight hold that Nemiga do have 50 seconds on the clock, Robo. Ooh, this could be... Okay, never mind. A beautiful reaction shot out of him again. A 3K to close out the round, and there's Box to finish up. Nemiga bagged themselves a first, and I think that was pretty much expected out of this side. With the way that they have already proven they can win rounds like that, we should have been seeing something explosive out of them in that first gun round, and it will essentially force Vega back into not even a too comfortable of a position. C's will have to get dropped into an AK. JR, of course, able to purchase, but it leaves the team pretty lacking on economy. So a couple of rounds winning the row by Nemiga, and that will really force Vega down to an eco early where they could have potentially been hitting a 4 to 5-0 potentially. But so far, Nemiga on that CT side. I love the fact that they're bringing out some mid-aggression early. 2 players, or even 3, situated toward close middle. And whilst they'll give up pretty easy A bomb site control, Nemiga has full sort of reliancy or respect in their retakes. But Crush, he'll land a first, and that might just get a little difficult. Lollipop already dead as well. And that is going from bad to worse for Nemiga as that bomb is already planted.
This is a bit of an overextension by Nemiga. They left A completely open. Sure, they take mid control, but as soon as nobody was there to challenge, they should realize, okay, guys, this is an A take or a B take, whatever it is. We have to get back to site. We have to save the site. And, well, it doesn't really happen. 3 players left on B to save, and that's about it. 4-1, as you said, Vega Squadron. That 5-1 result is looking mightily possible. Especially if they can snag away a few of the rifles here that are being saved. That certainly would help them even more. Nemiga, a good start to the first buy round, but then the second round is kind of shaky, or more so the second round that they were supposed to win, right? If they want to continue on their economy. This is not exactly a comfortable start, not exactly a comfortable beginning. Luckily, they have the money, they have the rebuy, and maybe a double up? No. No, okay, never mind. No double ups. Nobody's that crazy, I guess. Box has himself most likely an AUG. And yeah, that's the case. 4 Augs, a AWP on Robo. And we're going to have a pretty standard setup coming out from Nemiga. But by the looks of it, Vega, he's, well, okay. They're going to be executing A. I like this a lot. Ooh, Lollipop. He picked Pit. I'm not sure if he spotted him. No, he did not. Dima gets out through the Molotov. He loses a majority of his HP, but it doesn't matter. He's already gotten a kill. Box also locked out of Connector, more so out of A site. And it's back to Vega taking A site completely unchallenged, I guess you could say. And Nemiga, this is starting to become a bit of a problem. 2 rounds in a row is, you know, obviously an issue. Not yet a big problem itself, but it's gonna grow into something bigger if they don't challenge it and don't control it.
Worst part about it as well is they've given up A-site control so easily.
Yeah.
In probably 4 of the 6 rounds that we've played so far, whilst Robbo able to trade back Dima to counteract it, make sure the round is essentially done, and as there's no time left, he will just save that AWP, which at least can be carried over into the next round. There is a little bit of money in the hands of JO, but realistically, there's only him and Box that have anything in the form of money. The round loss bonus will assist them, though, as it begins to grow, and they might be able to force one more buy round out of this for the fact that Robbo can drop an M4, and they can see MDS by the Kevlar, Lollipop, the exact same as well. They will go for a pause, though, so I assume to discuss this sort of matter. But a beautiful start from Vega so far. They're making sure that even though Nemiga bagged themselves a first gun round off of the back of that purchase in the 4th round, they've instantly had a response out of them, made sure that they got shut down pretty quickly, and are now on the brink of putting them again back into an eco. So that could really see Vega striding up to maybe 7 or 8 rounds in this T side before Nemiga can have a chance to oppose. And that's really going against what we've seen from Nemiga in the past with their previous results on this map especially.
Absolutely, and I mean, just the previous results as a whole, they... when we look at the past, well, not this tournament specifically, as this is their opening match, but when we look at the Hotshot series, when we look at Lootbet Season 2, Season 1 as well, if we go even further back, or excuse me, no, actually, no, they were not in Season 1, my bad, in Season 2, yeah, specifically. But basically, it's been quite a run for them, and they've proven to everybody, yo, we're not going to be on the sidelines anymore. We're fighting to, you know, get a better spot at this, get a better chance at this, you know, to rise through the ranks as professional players and a professional team as a whole, and they've done a great job at it. But as you said, Vega Squadron coming out of the woodworks, immediately snagging 5 rounds together, and now, you know, basically putting Nemiga on the board and either forcing them to jump into the shark-infested water or, you know, saving themselves by killing everybody on the pirate ship with their hands tied behind their backs. There will be 4 AUGs and an AWP, but Nemiga, they have to make this work. They have to get this round if they wish to have any chance of contending for the first half. Good start as Box finds the entry. There's going to be a second player to support him. There's going to be JO, but Box turns around for the 180. He's ready for the push from underground. Unfortunately, going to be caught as Dima pulls out, but JO, he's still there, refrags, and that's enough. 3 kills, that's more than enough, and Nemiga should be able to find success coming forward in the next few seconds.
And definitely should be, with Crush and JR heading down toward this B bomb site. That is essentially the round confirmed. MDS to shut down JR. And there we have it, the CT side to bag themselves a second round on the board. Crush will go for the save, but there is plenty of money left on that T side to again force another buy round. But still, it ensures that the CT side are keeping in relative competition with Vega at this point, because I think the worst thing right now is for them to get whitewashed out, like we said before this game, by a side that really has nothing to show so far. So the unexpectedness is what might be forcing Nemiga to adjust a little bit, but at the moment they seem to be doing it pretty well. Whilst Vega have got themselves 5 rounds, we know that Nemiga do prefer their CT side. A lot of their games going more 10-5, 11-4 on the CT side if they do get a strong beginning, or at least a strong half in itself. But that T side will be forcing out, again, another purchase. A lot of AKs to be dropped. A lot of the money to be spent as well, which does mean that there is some uncertainty. Providing that Nemiga win this next round, there should be an eco forced out by the T side, but overall, Robo is back onto that AWP. I've got to say, one of the more comfortable players at this kind of level. Being able to take an AWP on both CT and T side, which is great for Nemiga themselves. But again, some mid-aggression shown by Box, and it begins to work out, but not before Scuvixi trades back. So a swift 4 versus 4. And with plenty of time left, it does work out for Vega as they do take that mid control. But a boost from short, that could be actually pretty perfect. MDS could actually ruin everything here.
Yes, he could. I mean, with his... Okay, he's going to go back down. I guess he, prefers safety over getting an entry, and you have to respect that. I mean, it's his call to make, and in this case, I gotta agree it's the right one. Rather save yourself, make sure you don't lose that entry one more, or you don't lose one more player, rather than, getting a kill then being traded immediately back. But this is an A split, and Robo, he peeks from Ticket, gets himself a kill. Scooby's already out of connector, though, spots Robo as well, and this is gonna be a problem. Robo has to stay alive, he has to delay the push as well if he can. He misses the second shot, but there's 2 players in Palace that need to jump out. That nade could do some serious damage. Luckily for Vega, it's a little bit too soon to be thrown. And oh, JR, he's gonna be spotted by JO. Okay, I guess that works out. The gap in the smoke gives them enough of a time, more so enough of a break in between to delay the plant and potentially still win this round easily. As Crush plants the bomb, it's Scooby to come in behind. He's gonna be waiting in connector. Fair enough, but that position is so isolated for him. They've got a smoke. They can smoke off connector, and he's done for. But here we go. Crush spots one. He's gonna be re-peeking though, and he's been spotted himself. And it's back to a pretty much, I guess you could say, fruitless battle for Scooby, as he cannot fight against 3 players, especially not against an op. And it will be 3 rounds to Nemiga.
And again, a pretty solid retake on that CT side. There was a little contention with how easy Vega were taking that bomb site in previous rounds, where the retakes weren't just not there at all for Nemiga. But finally, they're able to bring one to fruition and make it work. This time, the T side, again, with that bomb plant, able to put another buy on the board. That is probably 3 in a row right now that they've been able to invest into, even with the lack of, or a depleting economy in itself. So staying pretty strong so far. You can now see it is beginning to get very, very weak though. And again, Box is going to exploit that mid push, but finally JR to be aware of it. Even with a scout able to tag him down to 30, some decent damage to be inflicted early. But at this point, this is all the way for Nemiga to be able to tie the scoreline. Winning this round essentially gives them a free 5th for the eco to be had on the T side, and that just means that Nemiga will be right back into the action. And even when Vega looked primed and ready to run away with a couple of rounds and maybe pull away to maybe 7, it has been Nemiga to make sure that that doesn't happen. And you can definitely see on their CT side, they're now beginning to look a little more comfortable. And with plenty of time left on the clock, the CT is playing more of a default setup, a 2-1-2, but it is as effective as ever, especially with Robo playing this sort of mid position. Even with an AUG, he can still be relatively effective. We've seen he's able to switch weapons like so quickly and be as versatile, so this could definitely pay off for him. Spots a couple of players inside of mid, some utility to be expended. Trying to challenge maybe a little too much here, and there we go, does get called out, but somehow, how is he not dead? Even kills off seized. What?
That was never supposed to happen in the first play. Lollipop gets himself crushed as he jumps onto the boxes at Palace. Unfortunately for him, Scooby peeks at the right time. But Dima, he's going to be caught by Box, and it's back to a 3-on-2. Make it a 2-on-2 as JR snags onto JO, but it's Box that refrags once more, and the op is again an invaluable asset to Nemiga. Without it, there is a high chance they wouldn't even be getting this far. And of course, MDS knows where to spray, where to shoot. Delays, or more so denies the plant and secures the victory. Nemiga, 4-5, and they're closing the gap. They're also throwing Vega onto an eco here. This will be pistols and Kevlar. That's the only thing they have left to work with. And as you said, the diminishing economy finally starts to, I guess you could say, hit Vega back in the face, as they are not being too careful with their money. Although, yes, they did force up. They did, do a few fully shoddy rounds, I guess you could say. But overall, Nemiga, this is a very nice return, and certainly a testament to what I was saying previously, to their results, to their quality, to their rise as a team as a whole, and really improving on all accounts of their gameplay.
Yeah, and especially so on that CT side, when you can really start to get the hang of it, you just know that you're having a good time once you start to string some rounds together, especially on the CT side, and that's what Nemiga are beginning to do now. You can see they're starting to really grow and making sure that they lose literally no men in this eco round. It's perfect for them. The CT side not only tying it up at 5-5, but making sure that all their money gets banked up, a lot of weapons saved and carried over, probably a lot of that utility as well, so they won't have to repurchase a lot going into the next round. These kills from MDS should be relatively simple, and as he finds the first seized, might even be able to take one to the grave, but no. Nemiga to close out 5-5. And as we do see the rebuy coming through on that T side, potentially a glass cannon, but I doubt it. There's not a lot of money on that side as a whole, so probably 5 AKs, a lot of utility, however. Okay, no, never mind, we do see JR bringing out the AWP and the Kevlar, so fair enough. But even so, T side, I think even at a T side, they'd be relatively happy with the amount of rounds they've got now. But with the way they started, I'd say maybe 1 or 2 more to close it out, make it a pretty close half, or at least as possible as it can be. But Nemiga, once they find their footing, we saw in games in Season 2 where they were able to defeat, even taking maps off of some of the best teams in the league. Yeah. Maybe not even finding the victory, but being able to contend, and we know how strong they can realistically get. Aside against like Vega, who's probably easily exploitable at their early age, it's definitely holding up for Nemiga so far.
It is. I mean, they're starting to wake up, right? They're feeling a lot more confident by the looks of it. They're not giving themselves up too easily, or at least too quickly. Crush does get the refrag, though, as Robo. Perhaps, as I say it, he is a little bit too confident in some positions. But once more, it is Box and Lollipop to respond. Another one for JO. And by the looks of it, Vega, after finding their initial success, really kind of standing on shaky grounds right now, as they lack the commitment, or perhaps we could say the coordination to be able to execute a take. As what we are seeing up to this point, it's really not looking too sweet. They're kind of losing players left and right, not even being able to challenge for it. Everywhere they go, somebody dies, and there's no refrag available, and that's the bigger issue, or the bigger picture that they're missing, I guess, in the end. So 6-5 in Vega Squadron, after a stellar beginning, they are now in the worst possible position they could have been from the get-go.
Yeah, definitely. They've not particularly shown us too much after getting those initial spree of rounds, and it should be going in the favor of Nemiga realistically, but yeah, even in this kind of scenario, they've gone for more of a half Mach 10 kind of Kevlar buy, which I can definitely commend. It can provide some decent kills, and especially with the money bonus. Yeah, that can be gained off of the back of it, but realistically, it shouldn't be providing too much. C's already getting caught off. Robo to land himself an initial frag. Dima actually does trade back onto JO, but they're going to get the bomb down already. At least some plant money to be gained, but yeah, MDS, that position is so powerful. Keeps himself nice and sneaky and strikes at the perfect time. Skubixi, last man left alive, and 7-5 Nemiga now taking the lead on the CT side, unless Skubixi can bring out something spectacular, but it's not to be. And that is a nice little sort of denial of the round for Nemiga there. It could have gone a little hasty, especially with Vega getting that bomb down. That could have forced them into some pressure, but they stay as strong as ever. And a 7-5, they're now putting a barrier between themselves and Vega, and that's going to work out as these sort of final rounds of the first half begin to dwindle away. There's not too many left now, and there is that possibility that we even see more of a victory in the half for Nemiga. They're only a round away from bagging minimum rounds, even with the possibility of a 10-5 if they keep going like this.
Absolutely. I mean, they are an unstoppable force right now. Robo, look at this aggression. He realizes, okay, they're taking mid control. I need to get the hell out of there. He even peeks still. Gonna be mollied down to 20 HP. I think this shows how much he wants to commit to that first entry, or more so to that early peak. Perhaps a bit too much for my taste. This certainly was uncalled for by him. He could have pulled into underground, or he could just pulled out through connector into jungle once more, instead of running through the Molotov to peak again. And oh, the timing here though, perfect. As MDS is boosted, he gets one. There's another player in B house that's gonna be seized, but he's all alone, and if he dies, that's B side clear, or more so B house cleared off. And Vega, I think they're gonna be going short. By the looks of it, they certainly are feeling like it. And Seized needs to stay alive here. If he dies, this B short take will be useless. And Robo, well, he's ready for it. There's one. JO holding the line, drops the AW and the bomb as Crush gets refragged, or more so does get the refrag, but 25 HP left. This is going to be an extremely difficult round for Vega to win, especially with Box coming up top mid. Ooh, good expectation though. Crush is ready. That's actually pretty decent. Now things could turn a bit sour if Nemiga will be too eager, or more so too confident, or overconfident in this case. Oh, that nade though.
Should be a money nade. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Crush knew there was a nade as well and sort of jumped into it. which is actually really unlucky for him. The best part about this, though, is that Skubixi's actually gotten toward the A site and should be able to bag himself a bomb plant. So at least putting some more money into this T side again will actually get himself inside a CT. This could actually work out if he isolates these kills. And MDS does eventually close it down. Lollipop, TK, and Robo in the process, but not that it matters in the grand scheme of things. And there it is. Nemiga get themselves the 8th round on the board. You've got to say Robo being pretty accurate as ever. And again, JO able to deny, especially JR as he swung with the AWP. You can almost expect a reaction shot out of him, but unluckily that it wasn't to land. But Nemiga will take those all day long. A little bit of a shaky retake, but it works out in the end. An 8-5 as Nemiga win themselves the first half already. This is now a sort of test of how far can Nemiga push this. Can they get that 10-5 going into the second half? Because if they can prove that, then they essentially assume that any rounds that Vega got were just them settling to maybe either the unexpectancy of Vega coming out or just the overall fact of, we've not started well, let's get our heads together.
Honestly, it should be exactly that. We haven't started well, let's just get our heads back on straight. That's it, end of story. Because I initially expected Nemiga to be the better team in this battle, right? And not to take anything away from Vega, but you simply cannot contend against quite a few months already of practice and preparation and overall, you know, setting up for tournaments, etc., etc. And Robo, he's going to peek connector, gets some, or more so peek through connector, gets himself a kill. And the entry again to Nemiga. Vega, their map pick starting to look pretty weak after getting 5 rounds. Now they're being shut down every single, more so every point of the way. Even though it's coming down to close battles, you know, it's coming down to one-on-ones, two-on-ones, clutch rounds, etc. It's not looking too sweet as they are simply unable to close the rounds out. So it doesn't help if you play 10 rounds in a row with one-on-one and you lose all 10. It still is, you know, a round that goes to your opponent. But let's hold on for the second. 3 players remain. They're going to be hitting A. This is doable. If they take care of Lollipop and isolate the 2 guys in jungle connector, this could work out well for Vega.
Definitely could, and with 20 seconds left on the clock, if they shut down Lollipop, essentially a free passage toward the A site, but right now that is ultimate denial. Nemiga make it a 9-5, Robbo and Lollipop to do the majority of the work. That is a very, very good end to the first half, even if they don't bag themselves a 10th, but I mean, look at the money for already Vega. I didn't realize it's still going to be really low. Yeah. They can only just about force AKs if they want Kevlar. Even Crush going down to a UMP to be able to get some utility. The same for JR, he's down into a Deagle. So you can already see how weak that Vega have become at the end of this first half. Such a different story compared to how they started. They had around $9,000-$10,000 built up. They were cruising for success in this first, but Nemiga have just seemingly awoken and really started to progress now and already box to land himself the first kill onto Seized. It goes from bad to worse. One of the players already dead and you're significantly weaker despite the round in itself. And whilst they will begin to head toward that B bomb site, Robbo closing out Skubixi, and it pretty much just proves that this round should be closed relatively swiftly. A 10-5, and what a way to end the first half by Nemiga. Pretty much flawless to get to. I'm pretty sure that was like 9 rounds in a row, right?
Yep.
After the, actually no, it was 5 2, maybe 8 rounds in a row.
8 rounds. Yeah. So
either
this
way,
is the
still
9.
commendable.
Yeah, very commendable. This is excellent. Well played, Nemiga. You've shown your true colors. Sure, the early start was a bit bad. You know, you kind of took your time to adjust, but this is certainly a lot better than what we've seen in the past, or more so what we've seen at the start of this game. And well, I hope to see more out of it overall, because this is what we deserve out of Nemiga. Vega, though, on the other hand, it's their map pick, guys. It's time to show something, or, you know, bow your heads down and hope for the second map to go better.
Yeah, definitely so. And I think going into that second half, they have to begin to prove that, or else Nemiga will find themselves pushed up to maybe 13-14-5 pretty swiftly. But we'll see how that happens and unrolls in the second half after a short commercial break from, of course, Loot.bet.
Bet. Made for live betting.
And our second half is here, of course, and so is the chance here for Vega to redeem themselves and their map pick to potentially close out this half with a victory, or more so, close out this map with a victory, which is still, though, highly unlikely by the looks of how the first one went. Nemiga are looking pretty darn strong. But in any case, this is where it's all going to come down to. Vega, they need to win the pistol if they wish to have a fair chance of making the comeback. Otherwise, Nemiga, well, there's a high chance we'll be seeing a 12 to 13-5 result, something like that. And oh, good start for JR. He gets himself one. That's a perfect beginning. Now the setup is made. Can they continue the story? Can they continue this kind of work? Well, by the looks of it, they will. Scooby finds himself one as Jo finally refrags on JR, but it's gonna be a man advantage, and Nemiga, they're starting to wane a little bit, although Lollipop, Lollipop! Wow, that's perfect. Now back to 3-on-2. Cease comes across from Kitchen, gets the kill, but is a bit too soon to push forward, I think.
Seems like Nemiga have been able to counteract the round, even getting a little bit gritty. Box has been spotted. Crush wants to be careful though, because as soon as he swings, Jo is ready for it. And even in a 1-on-2, knowing where both players are, it's such a hard task to be able to isolate them, and Box is just dipping and diving behind that pillar, baiting for Jo, and it works out perfectly. Nemiga, like you said, they've bagged themselves that pistol, which essentially gives them now a huge chance at either a 12 or 13-5. I'm going to assume 12 before Vega get the guns on the board, because they will or should go for an eco in this kind of position. But either way, with Nemiga bagging themselves that pistol round, it is now a chance for them to really hit home in this second half. And as soon as they get into those guns on the CT side, yes, they can begin to oppose. But we saw so many gun rounds in the first half just that could have gone in Vega's way, just not happen. And I think that's with how strong Nemiga overall have been able to show themselves in this first map. It's very commendable to go 5-2 down with a chance of even maybe 6-7-2, but then be able to win so many rounds in a row and keep it up when you switch halves as well.
Absolutely, that's the point, right? When you switch halves and the momentum starts to shift a little bit, that's when you can get worried as Nemiga in their kind of place. You think, oh snap, we had a good start. Now is that the end of us? Is that the end of our good half or good performance? But by the looks of it, it's not going to be exactly so. And 12-5, I think they should be very content with how it's all going down, how it's all coming round for them. I think it's fair to say that obviously this is not yet done. This is still a long way to go before we can call victory for one or the other team. But it's looking good for Nemiga, that's for certain. Nemiga has given us a lot of, I guess you could say, promising hope for... Robo, he doesn't know where he's being shot from. That angle is so good, by the way. It's really good. If you have an M4, that's an easy kill or two from that position, because you see just the left side of short from boxes that you spot house from, so it's really nice. But again, it's not gonna matter. The round is gone anyway for Vega. It's 12-5. Ooh. Oh, Crush. Oh, come on. Come on. Yeah. Big F in chat. Big L in chat.
That's just that's a sum up of Vega's game so far in one scenario. Just an unfortunate turn of events. Nemiga, they find themselves 12-5 up. And going into that first gun round of Vega, they actually do have a pretty good buy round considering the economy that they have. They have AUGs and even an AWP onto JR as well, but it is glass cannon. There's no utility whatsoever. But the best part about it is Nemiga are confident enough to not upgrade into their weapons that they would be purchasing, such as AKs and AWPs. They're keeping the submachine guns on the field just for that sort of security that if they do lose the round, they have a lot of cash to fall back on. Yeah. It seems like Vega Squadron, they've started pretty confidently in this round of 4 versus 2. And whilst Robo will be able to upgrade into an SG, MDS on that on the Mac 10 is not going to prove too worthy for him. But even so, as that CT side looking to put a first gun round on the board, they might be able to at least counter it. And there we go, JR to shut down Robo. That essentially claims the round, a simple frag to finish. And actually a pretty confident round out of Vega. JR heavily relied on with the AWP, but if it works, then it definitely does. Although now we see Nemiga go for that full investment. They can bring out the big guns and start to see the AKs on the field. Maybe an AWP on Robo. Okay, no, he's going for an AK. But even so, when you're topping the leaderboard like that already, 18 kills, you're not going to really feel a lot of pressure. And
Yeah.
Vega, they have to be able to string rounds together, much like Nemiga did in that first half, or else even if they were to win this one, they'd have no economy left on that CT side. They'd be down to an eco 14-6, probably the outcome of the scoreline. Yeah, exactly. And we start to see the game dwindle. But even this time, Nemiga, they're trying to repeat the same dominance on that A bomb site that Vegas showed us in the first half. Robo and Skubixi 1-for-1 trade, but they've not yet able to make it out of Palace, nor the bomb to be planted just yet. So still time to counteract this, but Skubixi again to shut down one, but MDS to trade. Plenty of time left, but maybe Nemiga playing a little too aggro. MDS has to be really careful.
Oh my god, MDS
still comes out with a kill.
That should never be allowed coming out from Vega. They should have countered that as soon as, you know, they heard somebody jumping through stairs. They should have had somebody prepared for the engagement. Obviously a bit unfortunate, but it's back to a 2-on-2 at least, and it gives them a fair chance to still have an opportunity to win it. Although, but he's gonna peek. I'm not sure he does. Dima is ready though, and Lollipop a 1-on-2 left. Do they know he's coming through B house is a better question. Dima's gonna be spotting him, and Lollipop, he doesn't lose a single point of health. Now back to a 1-on-1. Seized, he's got the AWP, and it's all eyes on Seized. If he wins this round, he gives a chance to Vega. If he does not win this round, then it's all over. And Seized, he knows the... Oh, what? No,
Whoa.
Seized! No
dear,
way,
oh dear.
Seized. How could he have... Okay, thank God, Lollipop screws it up, but that was Jesus calling. That was Jesus calling for Seized already. That first miss, that could have cost him everything. Luckily, Seized is able to save it, but holy hell. This is coming too close for comfort right now. Vega, they barely make it out of it live.
That's the worst part as well, even though if you look at the scoreline, they're like, oh, Vega won the round, but they leave it with a single man alive. And even so, was so very, very close to death. Had to hit that second shot or else it was over. And Vega, they will have to force that rebuy, meaning their economy is still pretty low. So kind of ropey, even if they were to lose a couple of men in this kind of position. Seized, rightly so, handing the AWP back to JR, I think is always the better outcome in that kind of position. Crush going to use that nice little pixel boost to gain some info over toward that A ramp, even with MDS onto an SG. Not that they should be able to challenge too much in this round itself. They might actually be able to snipe away a couple of rifles with maybe the Desert Eagles or even that SG to provide some worth, but MDS to be boosted. Not to spot anything just yet, though. Gets himself down towards stairs, spots the man. There's the... Oh, maybe not the frag. Okay, sees to shut down box. But Skubixi. MDS could actually be forced into death here, and yes, he is. He delays it long enough for the support to come in. And that's the round itself. They shouldn't be losing a single man, and they will not. Seize with a 4K, and that's definitely a way to make sure the eco round did not go pear-shaped.
Indeed it is, and luckily, you know, they keep the majority of their rifles, weapons, and everything else in the bank, so they're able to keep their heads above the water, economically speaking. Nemiga, though, they have another buy, and it's 4 rounds remaining, still the difference, as Nemiga is fighting tooth and nail. But so is Vega Squadron, and I respect that, and I love it. You know, at least they're giving us a fight that we deserve to see, and that we hope to see out of Vega. And given that Seized is also playing, you know, this is something that you should be always expecting, that a fight at least happens, and not a complete wash away, or wash through. But... the big but here would be the fact that Nemiga is playing a bit of a default. They are slowing down completely. They're focusing on mid, and they did show a little bit of presence towards B house, but for the most part, they're just kind of making sure they have mid control and trying to force Vega into a response that would potentially favor them more than anything. In this case, you know, hoping to bait Vega into mid peak or into a mid battle of something of the like. And Scooby, well, he just might take the bait, hook, line, and sinker. There is no gap though in the smoke. So he's going to have to wait for it, but 2 players on A side, I kind of like the way they are setting themselves up. Vega realize, you know what, there's no reason for us to challenge, there's no reason for us to die. Let's just make sure we hold the sights, and that's about it. Ooh, Dima, though. That position on balcony is usually so easily taken care of if you just Molotov. If you just have a single flash even, a pop flash at that. We're about to find out how it turns. 40 seconds, time is ticking. The execute is coming on towards B. 2 players through short, 3 players through B house. And it's Dima for the first, but he gets traded out by JOC's holding the line. A double, that's enough. That's good enough. Robo, though, he's ready. Back to a 2-on-2 in 25 seconds. Time is of the essence no longer as Vega. now face to race against the clock.
Especially with JR on a retake with an AWP. One of the more difficult sites to enter on this B bomb site as well. You have to either funnel through a similar position as your teammate or split. And they will choose the prior. Already Robbo to maybe keep himself safe for now. All he has to do is spot that first man crossing bench. And with Lollipop being as safe as he is, that's all the info in the world. And as Crush takes down or is shut down, JR can't find the first shot either. And Robbo, the savior of the round, a 3K for him and 13-8. Nemiga, they start to really solidify what could be a very, very confident half for them yet again. And even that double from C's can't provide enough, as they're already prepared for it on that T side. The rebuy to be forced out of the CTs, but you can really start to see their economy is dwindling now. There is even a world where 15-8 is coming up in the next couple, depending on how this round goes. But again, JR back into that AWP. A rebuy to come from that T side. Ooh, fully blinded as they peeked out top mid though, and that's a beautiful double. What? C's able to get out with not one but two. Finally, Robbo to shut him down, but the damage might have already been done despite how weak the rest of the buy round is for Vega.
That's a successful push coming out, but on the other side, as you said, right, that the problem is the fact that Vega still have such a low amount of money left in the bank, that even if they win this, if they lose one more player, maybe two, they are not going to be faring much better than their opponents at this moment. And even then, their opponents are doing very well. I mean, 13 rounds, it's all good. They've still got a 5-round difference. They've still got a bit of a buffer zone in between. Ooh, Robbo missing a shot. That's unlikely to see him miss a shot like that. But fair enough. Luckily, Vega draw a 4-clover leaf, and they have a chance to still win this 45 seconds until the end of the round. The stack on B, with two players, or more so the two players defending B, are going to have to hold Sturley, though. Or more so Sterney, as otherwise they're going to be a bit of a problematic position. JR spots short, gets the entry. Robbo refrags on Dima. They know there's a second op there. Now the Molotov will be poised to go into the back lines of the site itself. Lollipop, though, here's the jump, almost certainly did. And now it's all eyes on JR. He has to stay alive. Spots, or more so Crush gets spotted and a bit tagged up through Kitchen. JR still close range. Oh, they see the barrel. Yeah, that's always a problem with an op. That's the one thing that you should always account for as an opper. Oh, Robbo! Oh, ace!
Oh my god.
Oh, what a sweet, sweet ace that is.
Well, that's a way to do it.
Wow. That's one way to close out the round and to close out the game, almost, I think it's fair to say. This is broken arrow economy for Vega Squadron. This is the end for Vega Squadron. The money is gone. Hope is gone. Force buy is here. 14th round, and they have nothing to show for it.
That's the worst part about it right now. All they have is an MP9, but Seized again has actually been a very, very strong fragger in this map, I've got to say, despite the scoreline. He's still been able to pull out some pretty confident kills, and Scubixi to do the same as well. Oh dear, this actually could go incredibly wrong right now for Nemiga. This actually might be where an eco round could be lost potentially, because right now Lollipop, as he's tagged down, oh dear. JR to finish him off, and in a 4 versus 2, a round that realistically Nemiga should have been closing down with relative ease. It's all gone pear-shaped. Box even able to close down Scubixi though. A 1 versus 2, and with JR down to 30 points of health, that could work out, but Dima already has so much info. He's heard the man crossing toward Connector, gets inside of the ladder room with just enough time to spare, and even as he makes his way toward the site, maybe a plank comes through, but he's planted in Navi default, already spotted by Dima in a pretty simple round. So random, but it's fair enough. They win themselves an eco and close down Nemiga, probably for them to go into a force by themselves now, so it could actually turn in the opposite favor depending how this round goes.
It really is a bit of a lucky break for Vega that they get themselves the round, because otherwise they're facing the music, and it's almost 99% of the time the end of the map after that. In any case, as you said, now a fair chance given to Vega to make the comeback possible. They are still behind quite a few rounds, but they can make this doable. Until Nemiga reach map point, Vega can win the 16-14, and that's something that they realize, or more so know, is on the chopping block. And the entry, of course, given to Vega, playing the default. They're playing very smart. They don't try to peek mid. They don't try to you know, force some sort of mid control. It's much better that they just focus on the defense of the site, and that's about it. Crush, though, close... not sure what Crush was thinking. Close range with an AK, that's kind of the worst possible position you can be in with an AK like that against pistols, but it's going to be JR that stops the push from Robo. A second player, actually, that's Lollipop with an AK, excuse me. Scooby, and C's, though. They will be able to clear the house and make sure Vega pick up at least 10, and the double digits they arrive at. But can they keep building from it? Certainly should be able to. Although, Nemiga, the money's so weird. Box having 2k, the rest having enough to buy a few AKs and that. I hope they don't buy, though. This has to be an eco, right?
Surely. I mean, I hope so.
Yeah. I hope so as well. Because, I mean, they can buy 4 AKs easily. They can go into a full investment with Kevlars and AKs, but they're going to be having like 1 or 2 smokes. They're going to be having like 1 flashbang, and that's about it. And when you limit yourself to only having AKs and Kevlars, you're forced to fight. And when you're forced to fight, usually things might not go your way.
And especially for the fact that we'd only see Box down to probably a Desert Eagle. Whilst the rest can bag themselves rifles, it doesn't really offer too much, meaning they'd essentially be throwing away 2 more rounds because they'd have to go for the eco. But yeah, we'll see probably some pistols to be dropped. Box will be given a P250, so at least we'll see some partial investment to be made by the T side themselves. Some Kevlar to come through as well. This time Vega, they should have a pretty simple round at hand just to ensure that the game stays competitive. Like you said, Vega could actually win this 16-14 depending how hard they're able to close out Nemiga in these next few rounds or so. And that's always going to be a possibility with the fact that Nemiga are not yet up to that 15th. They've not secured overtime, and they have definitely not found themselves close toward a victory sort of position just yet. But even so, this T side, very little to offer. Vega should be able to clean up this round pretty easily. We go to 14-11. That's the T side, whilst they will have a pretty good buy round. CT side is always relatively easy compared to T, and right now Box, he's getting challenged toward ramp already. Kind of like this from Vega. They have to go a little aggressive to show some presence, and Chris to find 2. Lollipop, though, bags himself 1. Robbo. Oh dear, Robbo. As he closes down Crush, it forces that retake of JR and Dima. JR's even down to a scout, and only Lollipop's being tagged right now. I love the fact that T side, they've slowed down incredibly, maybe to sit and linger toward ramp, force the mind games of this CT side. They're like, okay, there's no one here right now. They've got to be rotating toward B, but no. They're going to sit toward ramp, play toward Palace. This is actually so smart right now from Nemiga, to the point where as soon as, if they linger for another, I'd say 10, 15 seconds, we should see JR go back toward the B bomb site. They have to at least commit 1 to each site right now, but they're playing such a risky game, despite it being the right choice here. And Dima, he'll aggress inside of Palace. That's the frag they needed, closing down Robbo. And with the final 2 men left alive, there we go. JR to head back toward that B-bomb site to ensure the site is safe. And whilst it will be, there's still 40 seconds to work with, so plenty of time to make this round work in their favor.
More than enough, especially with the AUG on MDS, or the AUG. One thing I would like to see from Vega, though, is playing a bit less aggressive. Because if JR dies, Dima is left with 10 HP, and JR, well, he gets 1. MDS, I don't think he was spotted with the bomb, but yeah, he's aware he's close range. There it is. That's what I'm talking about. Now, a 1-on-1. MDS, he's got 79 HP against 10 of Dima, and there's an AK in the hands of Dima, sure, but there's an AUG in the hands of MDS, and oh, he spotted him. 100% he spotted him. Yeah, he definitely knows he's there. And all of a sudden, Vega now face off the music once more. Their money is not good. Their position is not good. And MDS, he's just good enough. It's going to be 15-10. And it's going to be one hell of a fight to see coming up right here, right now. Map point and Vega's map point, really, because this is their map choice. They probably, I would dare say, they probably leaned on the fact that they would be able to win Mirage, or at least be very close to winning it. And this is far from being close to winning it, if you ask me. J-Ho, the repeat from JR will cost him his life. Luckily, one of his teammates in window does evade the certain death, which is seized, obviously, but oh my god, the smoke plays. Jesus, this is always so bad to watch. Crush gets the kill. That's to be expected. I very much dislike the smoke pushes. Another smoke push by Lollipop. This is actually not a smoke push, my bad. I thought there was a smoke towards Palace. Not sure what Nemiga is doing though. They were not composed for this execution, yet they're still going for it, and they're losing 2 men in the process.
Yeah, definitely not too sure why they committed that hard with very little to be able to give to it. But fair enough, they'd hopefully learn from that in the next couple of rounds or so and be able to adjust that. But still, that T side is going to be weaker as they lose this round. The purchase has essentially thwarted all of their economy and has crushed takes down Box. MDS to reply with one of his own. Still has 85 points of health, but not that it can contest. With Dima, a nice headshot to close him down, 15-11. And again, that T side will have to go for most likely an eco. Could even be a force with the fact that Robbo and Box do not have economy to make sure that they get a buy in the next. And that is what's going to happen. MDS to pick himself up an AK, Box and Robbo to purchase. And the same for the rest of the side. So they will go for a buy round in this one. They won't have too much, but it definitely just puts them on a level playing field, gets the economy flattened, and they can build from the ground up together. Realistically, this should be Vega most likely being able to make, I'd say 15-13 with this next round if they lose, because that would be a 12 on the board for Vega, plus the eco round that would have to come through for Nemiga. So this actually gets more of a dangerous situation than we would have thought, with Nemiga being very close to victory at more of the 14-9, 14-10 kind of mark. It's taken quite a couple of rounds to be able to get to that 15th. They've not been able to close it out just yet. And again, we could see a lot of rounds, or at least a couple more, given to that CT side as well. Skubixi inside of Connector. As soon as that smoke fades, it should be a free kill at least onto Robbo with that pistol. And Jo the same with that Mac 10, but the timing as that smoke fades, he is at least still aware that there might be a player inside. But
no,
yes,
they killed both.
He definitely is. Robbo and Jo. That's 2 kills to go toward them, and already a 4 versus 3. This goes from bad to worse for Vega. The bomb planted. And this retake is going to be incredibly hard. MDS already posted so close to CT, and a beautiful flash. Can't do anything with it, as they do come out alive eventually. Able to reposition, but back down to a 3 versus 3.
Yeah, and right now, Vega already lucky to begin with. The spray has been missed by MDS this time. He's not going to be inaccurate, and well, he's going to get both kills. How the bloody hell does Nemiga close out the half, or more so the game with an eco force buy, or more so just a force buy? Holy hell, this is well played out by Nemiga. The way they performed, Robo at 30 kills, I think that speaks volumes of his quality as an opper, and above all else, it speaks volumes of the fact that Robo is a crucial player for Nemiga. Something we mentioned just, you know, the last time we casted him, I believe, was when Robo was not performing. He had like, what, 4 kills, I think, in the first, in one of the maps, one of the starting maps, and that was back in season 2 of Lootbet CS Cup, or CS League, excuse me. And yeah, I mean, Nemiga lost because of it, effectively. But now, well, I think they're showing us a new light, and I'm loving it so far.
Yeah, me too. I've got to say, Nemiga being able to take away the more prominent map pick of Vega Squadron, they've got to damn well hope that their Vertigo is on point right now, because Nemiga is again a side that has been practicing Vertigo, and they'd love to play that map. I think they've had a couple of officials on it as well, so they have definitely played it more in this competitive environment. They've played 2 and won 1 of them, lost against No Chance, but I think No Chance have played Vertigo like 6 times and are unbeaten on them, so definitely more of a Vertigo side. But yeah, they've played 5 balls in it. They've won 16-11, so they definitely have been practicing this kind of map. But Vega have to damn well hope that they're going to be prepared for this, because losing Mirage essentially opens the door pretty much halfway for an Nemiga 2-0. And in this kind of best of 3 scenario, and on a map like Vertigo, we could just be seeing that scoreline come to fruition.
Yeah, that's the scary part. And, well, we'll see if Vega have practiced Vertigo or not. In any case, we'll take a short 5 to 10 minute break, and we'll be back after that. So, gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. And, of course, before we shout out, or more so before we sign off, make sure to follow Kieran at VertexKieran on Twitter, or myself at OverSeard. And, of course, check out Lootbet, the main sponsor of this event, as well as, I guess, Lootbet. In any case, we'll see you guys in the second map.
Bet. Made for live betting.
Here we are, a million stars floating over our heads. Beating hearts, falling apart, staying up to forget. But